Oh, you better be ready for this. It's Daddio, everyone. Ricky is looking something up.
You better be ready for this.
The best way to start a podcast. One of the hosts deep into his phone, trying to find
ready for this. Well, a
something to
podcast
plug.
typically does not have video. So now you're just the asshole calling out what I'm doing, trying to be prepared.
Oh, hang on.
Wait, we have somebody else in? Or do we restart? Wait, did you stop it and restart?
No, there was an error.
There was an error. His name's Glenn Tickle.
Oh, yeah. It's time for Daddio. The nastiest
one
show
of these
around.
two Daddios has autism. Confirmed.
What? Yeah. Immediately after getting off last week, Ricky's like, "Oh, let me know." It was my appointment was at 10:30. I think I texted you at 10:31. It's like, yeah, you boys got autism.
Yeah. That's. I think it was. I immediately went upstairs to take a hot dump, and celebrated your news on my anniversary.
Yeah, because I got on the Zoom call with the lady, and she's like, "Oh, well, before we start, do you have any questions?" Like, just let me know. Just am I autistic? And she's like, "Oh, yeah." And then gave me like a chart. They're supposed to send me another report with more detailed information about exactly how autism I am, I guess, but I've not received that yet. Also, she's like, well, the next step would be therapy if you're into that. And I was like, yeah, I am into that.
The next step would be therapy if you are into that.
Yeah, like she's not gonna make me, it's not like court ordered. Like, at least for now, you don't have to go to therapy just because you have autism.
Sure.
But
I think that would also follow getting that breakdown of further information of just looking at the severity of being like, all right, what is a trained professional now, a legit trained, not saying that the other whoever
oh no, I'm saying they're not
goofy. When RFK first tested you and he threw a wooden block,
he did it personally,
and he said, "What was that?" And you're like, "A wooden block." He was like, "No, that was autism. You failed."
Yeah.
Well, that was his autism test.
So the second doctor was just giving the results, and she's like, "Oh, we should talk about scheduling therapy." And I was like, "Yes, I'm down for therapy." My last therapist moved away, and I have never gotten around to finding another one. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm good to do therapy." And she's like, "Well, we have individual, like, one-on-one, like traditional therapy, but like it would be over Zoom if you would like." I was like, "I would like." And then she's like, "Or if you wanted, we also offer group therapy, so it'd be like you and other autistic adults." And I was like, "Oh, so I would have to be in a group of strangers and like try to read social cues for when it's my turn to talk, and then also have to like pay attention to the boring things other people are saying?" No, thank you. I feel like this one's a trick. If I said yes to group therapy, she's like, "Oh, nope, actually, gotcha."
I think, did she say it's located in the green room of every comedy club and you'll be with 600 comedians? It's an open mic list, actually.
Yeah, you're going to need to be in a room talking to other autistic people. I was like, yeah, no, the Dr. Mario tournament's next month. It'll be, that's when I do that.
Congratulations. Does it feel like a huge weight is lifted off of your
It feels great to be right.
Can I make fun of it more now? Or do I have sensitive? Okay.
I continue to talk about it online. Remember who was our guest when I brought up the idea that it's rude to comment on a stranger's social media post?
We've talked about that pretty frequently.
Gosh, was that Matt?
I think we've had that a couple times. I think Tanya and Hannah got a variation of that, but I'm not sure which one. And I think Matt was the longer in depth, very specific of like, I don't think you should do, like, you brought, like, we talked about the generalities of that kind of with our guest.
That's when I presented
but Matt was
findings.
Yes.
Yeah, it was with Matt Wazowski.
Yeah. And I vehemently was just like,
and you said, no, do it. Who cares what people, who cares about people's feelings? I think is what you said. You said, I'm the most important little boy. Yes. No one else's feelings matter. But I have an example of what I mean.
Great. Oh, are you
So
putting it up on screen, or are you just gonna tell me?
no, because I don't know how to do that in Meets yet. I realized now that we switched to Google Meets and abandoned Riverside forever, it should work with OBS as the virtual camera to just like be able to pull stuff up and play audio. It's a separate thing I have to set up. I got the video part working, but nothing is loaded into OBS. But we all know my best friend and personal hero, guy that I love, RFK Jr., said that Tylenol causes autism because he is a scientist and he knows a lot of things and he isn't just a fucking maniac with a dead worm in his brain. So that news was going around, and I made the comment on Threads. I said, even if Tylenol caused autism, it doesn't. I would rather be autistic than have even a mild headache, which is true.
Good. It's a good joke too.
And it's got, a good amount of traction for a post on Threads. I blocked her, so I actually can't pull up the direct quote. But one lady's like, this is actually really insensitive because autistic people can face discrimination and like a lot of other challenges. And when you're like, oh, does it feel like a weight is lifted now that you have an official diagnosis? Like, well, no, but now that I have an official diagnosis, I can tell this lady to go fuck herself. Like,
you could before, and I'm sure you would have.
Yeah, I absolutely probably would have, but I did it more confidently. So she's like, oh, this is, insensitive because, it's not taking into consideration that autistic people face challenges. It's like, please talk down to me more as an autistic man about the challenges I face. And then the thing I ended up blocking her about. She came back and she's like, well, you didn't put that context in the thread, and I have a cousin who's autistic, who's like blocked. Sorry I didn't put my entire life story in every single individual thread that I post. Look at that page. It is, for the past couple weeks at least, mostly me talking about autism. Like looking at my feed right now, like, yeah, it's a lot of autism based content. If you spend more than 2 seconds looking at it, you'd be like, yeah, this is probably an autistic gentleman that I should probably assume has autism.
Just a million of open micers and other comedians they're just so happy for you now in particular, because now you have a gimmick and a voice for the rest of your stand-up career. You can be Glenn Tickle, autistic comedian.
Oh, I'm waiting for the first comment I get that I'm just aping Dan Lamort's act when I start talking about autism on stage, because he's the only other autistic comedian. There's none other.
No, yeah.
Like,
did you see the hot take on Whitney Cummings' response to the Riyadh?
Oh, that I'm racist because I don't think she should have performed for billionaire murderers. I don't know. Whitney Cummings sucks. I don't care what she says.
Her main part of it being like, if
I saw a headline about it, but I'm not going to like listen to a clip of. Aziz Ansari went on Kimmel and we talked about it. Like, I watched that clip because with some caveats, Aziz is at least someone who's like, well, I don't know, I'll hear him out. I mean, less so after watching the clip now. Like, if he put out a second clip, not interested, bud. Because he used the excuse, he's like, oh, there's good people there who disagree. Yeah, but you're performing for the people that they did, like specifically being hired by the people that they disagree with. Like, you can't use that excuse.
Well, Whitney Cummings' excuse, which again, I'm not completely surprised. I'm surprised that they're responding, except for it was a gig. I have no response.
Yeah,
it was a gig that paid a lot of money, and I have no response because I mean, just whatever. But her response was, it was a lot of money, and if you don't think that Saudi money isn't being paid to any performer who does shows with Live Nation, and I'm just like, oh, so this is the thing. This is the deflection now, is being like, ooh, let's look into all the American businesses. That it's kind of that thing of like, I don't like shopping at X, Y, or Z because blah, blah, blah supports this. So
Yeah.
the more information you know, the more where you have to start parsing, like, and dissecting how much you want to make a decision based off of the affiliations with said companies. I have a handful of them that I am that way, but I love that hers was defensive and just being like, we're all taking dirty money. We're all bought and sold by.
I mean, there's the argument that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, which is true, but it's the same thing. How like I don't eat meat. I don't like calling myself a vegan because like I'll eat honey because I don't care. Like, but there's hardcore vegans who are like, no, you can't call yourself a vegan and eat honey. So I'm not going to. I'm just an adult man who gets to decide what he does and doesn't eat all by himself. Actually, so when people are like, oh, you got to boycott all these stores because we made a list. Okay, great. Like I agree on a lot of these. Some of them, I don't either understand why they're on the list or honestly care about that thing that they did. Or sometimes I'm on the road in a new city that I've never been to, and I need to buy batteries, an SD card, and a belt 10 minutes before a show, and I don't know the local mom and pop SD card battery belt store in St. Louis. So I'm gonna stop at Target on my way to the gig. Sorry, like
Ethics and morals are a thing that need to be taught right around middle school, maybe one of the worst grades, maybe seventh grade, maybe eighth grade, depending on how schools are broken down. Because I know some like middle schools are part of high schools, vice versa with elementary. But yeah, ethics and morals. Like ethics are not imperative. There is not a if you feel that you are any monetary exchange, kind of like you were saying under capitalism, there is no imperative like 100% value to performing. It's what we put on it. So if ethically, if you take money for something and you know
sure,
who it comes from, like you're making a choice. And so anytime money is exchanged for any goods or services, unless it is gold or silver, which still, again, we have put the value on that thing, there will be issues of ethics and morality tied to any exchange of goods and services.
sure.
And again, just say, I got paid a lot to do a job, and
Truly, if that was anyone's
that's
response,
it.
they're like, why would you do this? And they're like, oh, because they paid me a lot of money and I need money to live. And this was a lot of money for one thing. And then I don't have to worry about money for a little while. It's not a great answer, right?
And
But
I do this thing
it's,
anyway, and it is the thing that is my livelihood.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry,
again,
the
not
weird,
that,
sorry, the
not that
weird
that
down
would be
like
a
tirade of
perfect
ethics and morals.
excuse,
It's
but it's like, yeah, be
ethics and
honest.
morals
Like,
with like comedy, like right now. It feels, and I know there has always been, and we've said that things have changed, but nothing is different. The idea of like going up on stage and being taboo, like after Charlie Kirk's assassination, going and seeing anybody on TikTok for their hot clips doing these bar open mics like we did, very similar looking places like that circus bar in
yeah,
Pompano or wherever we did, doing their hot take Charlie Kirk jokes so they can have people in the audience, Steve Hofstetter, yell at them. I'm just like, what do you want from this? What are you exercising? Are you exercising your free speech? Are you exercising the idea of poking a bear and digging a hole? Because I guarantee you are not Dave Chappelle. You are not Chris Rock. You are not any of these, like a Bill Burr level of comedian who is digging yourself out of a hole or being edgy. This is another,
it's
you know what,
quite
now
the
that I'm
hole Bill
40,
Burr currently
yeah,
finds himself in.
yeah. And that's I know I'm shouting at the moon as a 40-year-old. Now I can say a 40-year-old
Oh yeah, happy
white
birthday!
man.
You're old as hell now.
Yep. And yeah, I didn't work out for 2 weeks leading up to my 40th birthday
Just to
because I
really
felt
feel
like
extra old.
I
I want my joints
felt
to kill.
I felt worse. My legs felt worse. But with all of that, this idea of just mentioning another segment of our podcast, podcasts that are better than ours to listen to. Mark
There's
Maron's
none. This is the best
WTF.
one.
Last episode with Obama, there were some fantastic things mentioned in that and some great ideas. And the recognition of possibly said succinctly and pretty cleanly without, I mean, it can incite somebody being agitated, but the idea of like where we are now, where people are trying to better themselves in their situations to the detriment or without caring about anybody else.
That's
And
capitalism,
then
baby.
all the different ways that Marin or Obama says himself and breaks it down. He says one of the things is people are looking for the currency of fame, and they will basically just throw caution to the wind of ethics or morals to get something out there that possibly will win them some fame. But again, I know that's not a new thing.
Well,
But I don't like the flavor of what it is right now.
there's a defense of shitty comedy of they're like, oh, well, if the audience laughs, then it's okay. I'm like, I don't think I agree with that. It's easier. So I did, my friend was teaching a stand-up class, and I came in to like guest lecture last night to talk about like the business side of comedy from the perspective of working comedian. And we were talking about how I mostly work clean for money. Like it pays better. I get more gigs because people know, if they hire me for their corporate retreat or whatever, I'm not going to be a problem for HR on Monday. So somebody was asking,
did you see my email about the gig from the Bash, the woman saying about how to pay?
yeah,
Have you ever dealt with that?
I have, and I said the same thing you said of like, I don't see the same website that you see because I'm on the performer side. But
sorry to interrupt, but I
you love
legit
doing
wanted
it.
to know how to answer that. So she said
that's what I told her. I was like, it's on there somewhere. I don't know.
She responded like that she contacted the Bash and they said to reach out to me. I mean,
I've had people pay me.
Send her
I did a gig recently that I booked through the Bash. For people who don't know what we're talking about, it's an entertainment booking website where like if you want to hire entertainment for your event, go to the Bash, type in the details of your event, it'll contact performers in that area and price range if you put in a budget, and then they'll send you clips and quotes. But I did one. I always do a deposit through the Bash because they take a percentage of the payment.
Yeah.
So if you have them do a deposit, then the Bash will just take the percentage out of that, and then you don't have to worry about it. Because like I did one a couple weeks ago that I booked through the Bash. They said the same thing. Like, we don't know how to do it on here. I was like, well, figure it out if you want me to come to your event.
Yeah.
Because I have to pay the Bash, and I don't want to get a check from you in 6 months and then have to then write them like, figure it out, or I'm not doing the gig.
I want this gig though.
And
I don't want to lose.
So they paid the deposit, and then they asked about the balance. They're like, can we just give you a check on the night of the show? It's like, yeah, oh, absolutely. I just doing the deposit kind of locks in all of the like the benefits of booking through a site like the Bash are, if I book this gig and then I do the gig and they don't pay me, now the Bash is on my side to make sure that happens. It is not just like me chasing down money. So I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways. Tell the lady to figure it out. But what was I saying? Oh, so one of the questions about working clean was like, does political comedy count as clean? And I was talking about our conversation with Joel Byers, because he seems to be on the side that if you're being asked to work clean, that means don't be political. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I think you absolutely do clean political comedy. People might not like it, if you're still taking a stance, you're running the risk of alienating people. But I don't think that's a good reason to not take a stance. But it's the thing I've always said of like, look at it as you're being invited to dinner with these people. Are you going to show up in a room full of 200 people you've never met and scream, hey, who'd you idiots vote for? Let me talk about my balls for 45 minutes. Like, probably not. But if 200 people are coming to your house, talk about your balls all you want. It's your house. Go nuts. So that is why, like, I'm more inclined to post political content online, because if you don't like what I'm posting on TikTok or Threads or whatever, then don't follow me there. Problem solved.
Yeah, I mean, I that's so as far as the marketing side of things go, that's I mean that's the hardest thing, is labeling yourself, but also wanting those gigs, as we've talked about before. But there tends to be a certain audience, and I think right now, I think for me, I think I can kind of say here that I have some stand-up gigs coming up, but unless I think I'm gonna really be kind of a private event stand-up for the time being, unless something pops up.
So that was what the other thing I was talking about with, because it's the 201 level stand-up class at Steel Stacks, where it's like they've all taken the intro class, they've all been doing stand-up for a while. It is kind of like the thing we were talking about with when we had the question from, oh, was it a question for us, or I think I just talked about it, she asked me and we talked about it, Rebecca Noel, the open mic comic, who asked me to like jigsaw together a set out of donated time from people, and I was like, I will not be doing it. They're like, no. If one of them want to cancel and give you the spot, great, but I'm not giving 5 people 4 minutes instead of 4 people 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But she asked, she's like, I've been doing it for a while, and she had like, I've known her now for coming on a decade, and she's like, I'm just, I'm looking to like get to the next level of this. What do I do? So I gave all the people last night the advice of like, leave town, do shows outside of the Lehigh Valley. Like, you can't just do the same open mics over and over again and think you're gonna get better. Like, do some road shows. You don't have to go very far. Like, Harrisburg is not that far from
Yes,
Bethlehem.
that is the same advice.
You're there and back in one night. You
Get
meet
out of
new
town.
people. New people see you. But the thing I was trying to make the point to them of like, oh, I very rarely do club gigs. I was talking about how, it's like the beginning of the month, all our comic friends will post like, here's my October shows, and it's just a list of dates. I very rarely do that, because so often almost all of my dates are private events that like people following me on Instagram can't go to. So I don't want to put, oh, I'm going to be in St. Louis, and then anybody who follows me who lives near St. Louis is going to be like, oh, when can I come? You can't. Sorry, it's not for you. And bookers that I've worked with have been like, no, you got to do it because it makes you look busy. You can list the date and just put private event. And I was like, no. And it just looks like I'm bragging about all the private events that I'm doing. But most of the shows that I'm doing, because one of the questions I got last night was like, oh, how do you get an audience to come out? And it's like, oh, dog, I have no idea. Truly, as evidenced by all the Daddio shows that we've done, I do not know how to put butts in a room.
There is zero idea. So if you're already having an event and you want me to come to it,
yeah, 90% of the shows that I do, I don't have to worry about whether or not an audience shows up. That's not on me. I'm there. I'm the entertainment after dinner for the event you guys all already have. Or like the cruises that I've been doing, right? Like it's not on me whether people come. No one's going to book a cruise to come see me specifically. Actually, I say that in one person did reach out because I posted that I was going to be doing a specific ship, and they're like, oh, when? I'll try to get, but I think they booked so far in advance that it's not likely to ever happen. But it's, if you get booked at a club and no one comes, the club's like, well, you messed up. But if you are doing a work event for something and nobody comes to the work training that day, that's not your problem. And that's most of what I do. I think more comics are doing these types of events as a larger percentage of what they do than I think talk about it. Because it's not like that glamorous or fun to talk about.
well, I mean, it honestly, it goes back to the issue that I've had locally, which I know it's not specific to just me. It kind of happened all over in different comedy scenes, where there's Funny Bone and there was Go Bananas when I was starting off in 2005. And I served for the Funny Bone, and they, have a lot of ex-TV stars or people who are on sitcoms
Yeah.
or SNL people that aren't necessarily have stand-up acts. They're just telling stories, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter, whatever. It's fucking comedy. Um, whatever genre, whatever, box you want to put the performers in. But they're a business. All they wanted was to make sure that the audiences came in happy, ordered some shit, left happy, had a good time. And Go Bananas was more like integrity of stand up and blah, blah, blah. Made sure they knew that. And if they had comedians, if they had credits, like it was more like a Todd Barry or a Gilbert Godfrey or more kind of like alty comedians are considered alt at that time. They were true stand up. Well, I think now it's that same idea of like, well, if you're just a corporate comedian, or if you're not posting your shows and stuff, or if you're reaching out to places out of town to get booked on things and you're putting yourself out there, you should be waiting until someone has acknowledged you that you're funny, and then they will book you on things, or then they will bring you along on their tour, or then this club or this theater or this place or this entity will then knight you and give you that pass. But until then, how dare you, with your own sensibilities, continue to do something like this professionally?
I think
like,
that is a fairly outdated idea.
Lunar, it is, but
Most people have given up on. Like, I was talking about terrible advice I got early on from the now deceased former owner of Broadway Comedy Club. He did an event.
Wait, now deceased.
Like,
when
did like 3 years ago.
Okay.
It's not like
I thought it was the dude.
Not like this week.
Name, but okay, the dude from like last year who I originally had booked at Broad. I didn't know if it was that dude or not. I was like, oh, maybe that's why he hasn't responded to my text.
But he did an event ostensibly like, oh, I'm a long-standing club owner. Let me give advice to some new comics. So me and my friend Jason Brown went, and a lot of the advice he was giving was just straight up terrible. He's like, don't put anything online, because if you put a joke online, nobody wants to hear it in person. Don't talk about your cat. No one cares about your cat. And it's like, all right, this sucks. Like, this was such bad advice.
Or it's great advice because you just do the opposite of what this.
Yeah, just do what the opposite. I'm blanking on his name. But he's also
shitty McClub owner.
He also I did what was ostensibly supposed to be an audition for the club, and he was giving everybody feedback after, and the feedback he gave me was like, hey man, you're pretty good, but like, you're new, so my advice to you is like, don't get married or have kids, because it's really gonna like tie you down. I was like, oh, so you didn't listen to a word of what I said, because my whole set was about my wife and kid.
Oh my gosh, that just pulls us back to like, I think one of our first episodes, and not our first episode. The guy who's just like, oh man, I'm a New York comedian that's played arenas, and I just had a kid, and I just don't think I can do comedy the way I used to. I think I should not. I'm like, yep, you're right, buddy. You should not. You're saying it's an old sensibility. I could name you a comedian that is from my area who is getting a little bit of notoriety, and if he doesn't pop any bigger than he is now, I wouldn't be surprised. But if he also popped even bigger, to be more of like a Sam Morril kind of level, I could see that as well. But he was a local comedian who believed in this: don't ask for opportunities, or this is how he portrayed himself in the group. And I'm sorry about being vague who it is. I don't dislike him. It's just there's no reason to throw him under the bus for anything. He was part of the group of you don't ask, you wait to be asked, for clubs, for out of state, for other comedians, for any opportunities. Don't submit your tape to late night. If they want you kind of thing, they'll reach out to you. That mentality. I was booking shows pretty regularly out of town pre-COVID, and I think I talked about that. We did a thing called Brew Crew Comedy Tour, doing breweries and wineries, where we would rotate who was MC, feature, and headliner.
I keep forgetting. I think Joel Byers did a very similar thing. I know we brought him up already. this episode. I think I heard him talk about basically the same thing. He's like, oh, like we would do kind of the rotate. Everybody gets the experience hosting. Then the next night they're the feature. Then the next night they're headliner. So we're all logging these hours and these different roles. I never did it that way specifically, but I ended up doing a lot of shows with more or less the same couple of people when I was starting out, where it's like, yeah, we kind of just whoever booked the gig, they're the headliner, and then the other two would, flip a coin for feature or host, where
Yeah,
it was
it's a
at
decent
that point
exercise.
it didn't matter. Like it wasn't, it wasn't an ego thing. We're all like, yeah, we're all starting out, we're basically at the same level, we are all friends, we like working together. Now it's all about ego, baby.
Well, it all comes down to nobody knows who any of the comedians are on the show anyway.
Sure. Or like when you and I do Daddio shows, it's
Could care less who opens.
Truly, it's like, I think the only one where it's like, I would like to close the Emmaus show because I know people are coming, because it's not that far from where I perform a lot. So like the people who are coming to that one are coming to see me. And then the other ones, it's like, oh, I don't give a shit. Even that one, if you're like, well, yeah, but they've seen you before, so I should. Yeah, I could have been swayed,
Can you imagine if that's like when I whip out my dick and just start beating you with it? And like, no, Ricky Glor's the headliner. Clint.
Yeah, but also like their build is co-headlining shows, so it's like, yeah, people are ostensibly coming to see both of us. I
also don't have an ego enough to be like, if you were like, look, I'm going to headline all these shows, and we're going to clearly put on the poster, you much smaller, me, smug genie, like looking down at you, being like, Ricky Glor's opening for me. He's opening doors. He's opening buttholes. He's opening up portals to hell. He's opening up everything. He's opening up my heart, my eyes.
My friend Jay Black is a comedian that I've worked with a lot. I've talked about him on the show before.
Sorry, let me wrap up the comedian that I was not saying. So we were doing that, and this comedian had this way of thinking, which is very similar to this weird gatekeepy kind of mentality. Gatekeepy. Hello, gatekeepy. In Cincinnati area, a lot of independent artists, like music bands, painters, whatever, a lot of graphic designers, comedians, they share this similar mentality. So I don't know if it's something in the water or just something of the area. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe a defense mechanism for people that are scared of putting themselves out there. Not sure. Don't care. But I know it's not about the sanctity and integrity of the art form. So I start getting pretty heavily booked. And I start booking some headlining shows where I'm not doing that format. Guess who one of the first people is to message me on Facebook, who I know had openly talked shit about me?
That's me.
And that
surprise.
And so I was just like, man, the fucking hypocrisy. So I didn't ever have him. I actually offered him a few shows because I do think he's a decent comedian and also has a different voice than I to do. And then he ended up having to back out on him. But he has now done pretty well for himself because he was able to get his coattails attached to something else.
That's good.
To get him seen. And he's doing well at it. And so I all the best for him. That mentality, though, that you're saying is an old school thing, I think it is. Everything is different and nothing has changed.
Well, the other piece of advice I gave last night, I was like, I started stand-up comedy 16 years ago. It is different now. So some of it, a big thing people ask is like, well, how did you start doing colleges? Okay, here's how I started doing colleges in 2016. That was pre-pandemic. It's all very different now. So I don't know. This is what I did then. It might not work anymore. But I do think it's like kind of an outdated idea. And I feel like younger, or maybe not actually younger, newer comics are less inclined to be like, oh, I have to like wait my turn. I got to just put in the hours. It's like they're seem much more inclined to be like, no, I'm going to post stuff online. I'll send this clip to a booker, even though it's not very good. I don't care. I'll send a better one later.
To Michael, I can't think of his last name, the talent booker for the Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm.
I have sent numerous clips. JP Buck, who is the talent booker for Conan.
Yeah.
I sent in a couple packets as well, different times for late night submissions to like Corden, Conan, Tonight Show, and whatnot. Last week tonight, I think that I talked about with the Tanya episode. But I got feedback. I obviously never got booked, but I got feedback from almost every entity that was positive. It wasn't ever like, quit sending me your fucking clips until you're ready.
Well,
it was
that's their job.
It was, yeah.
Like,
but it was great because like I got feedback and I was like, oh, okay, so this is why this doesn't, at least right now, for whatever whatever the reasons are, you gave me constructive criticism that I can either implement or disregard and then probably try to find another reason why it's not working.
Yeah.
We all need a little bit of delusion in this industry. Just a little bit.
I am so hesitant to be the one like advocating for myself in terms of getting booked. And so much, I mean, that shows in how my career has panned out, of like so much of the shows that I do are, you know, I book cruises through an agency. I book a lot of the corporate stuff that I do through a booking agent, or just people will reach out to me through the Bash, but not necessarily directly. Like, it's not always, you know, oh, we got to book Glenn Tickle. It's we need to book a comedian, and then we listed our details on this website. 15 people send us a quote, and his price, the price to quality ratio on this guy seems like a pretty good deal.
You are also pragmatic of, you're not looking to get famous, you're looking to get work. And if a byproduct of getting work is that you get famous and that gets you more work.
Yeah, I talked about that expressly when I was doing the Tries to Be a Person shows in Rochester, because I, for a long time, really took the Steve Martin advice of be so good they can't ignore you, like, to heart. But I think you do at a certain point have to start speaking up for yourself, because I think I saw somebody criticize that advice online a couple months ago, and I get their point, but he doesn't say like be so good they can't ignore you and don't do anything else. Like, it is your primary focus, especially when you're starting out, needs to be on getting good.
You can still pay your dues while getting the experience. There's not an exclusivity between those two things.
Right. He's not saying only focus on being the greatest comedian ever and don't ever ask anybody for a spot on their show. It is just like, the first thing you should be focusing on is getting good, which
they're doing it.
Not to sound like I believe in myself or whatever, but like, I'm good at comedy now. I have the numbers to back it up of like, yeah, I've been on stage a lot, and with rare exception, it goes well. It's, you know, sometimes I have an off night, or a lot of like the private gigs that I do is they're not set up for success. So sometimes, you know, a bunch of firefighters book you, and then you give them your recommendations on how the show should go, and they say, oh no, we're not going to do any of that. And then it goes bad because you're not getting on stage until 10:30 at night, and everybody's just sleepy and wants to go home. And you're like, hey, I told you we should have been doing this during dinner. So I don't feel bad at all. Recent experience.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I just did a podcast called Low Budget Rebels.
Oh, I have to run real quick. We talked about this briefly. It's literally gonna be like 30 seconds. So you start, I'm gonna jump back on.
Yes. Josh Stifter is the host. He has worked with Kevin Smith. He was part of Rebel Without a Crew, Robert Rodriguez show. He's done different work with Mr. Rodriguez. He has a film, Good Exorcist, that was part of that. Then Trauma. That's another connection between the two of us. I didn't know that. Just did his podcast. He's doing a 4-part docuseries called Low Budget Rebels, where he talks to a handful of independent filmmakers about different subjects. I believe it's going to be 4 different subjects. The first one was marketing, and it is currently live. How do you market as an independent filmmaker, besides posting on social media? How do you market yourself? How do you get people's eyes and ears, different ideas that have been successful, have been non-successful? So if you, again, this is another, go listen to a better podcast. I'm
There's
not
no
saying
better
it isn't
podcast.
the
This is
Daddios.
the best one.
Low Budget Rebels, first episode is up. First episode is all about marketing. I know the other three subjects, but that's what each episode will be about, kind of a docu-series podcast, limited series. I had a great time doing it, and it's kind of how we talk about stand-up. I really enjoy hearing, especially presented in a different format, helpful, or even if it's not helpful, kind of like what you were just saying, getting advice from that guy that just
So what
felt
I was saying
completely
wasn't
the opposite. No, I'm saying
Yeah.
the other gentleman that you're like, you sniffed that it was the exact opposite, which to me, I say that is incredibly helpful, of when you're hearing something and you're like, no, this isn't
Right.
chicken. This is fish. Like that's, I hear what you're saying, but this is helping me solidify. So I think
Right. That might have been true in the 70s, sir, but we live in a whole different ass century. So
but there's a lot of different areas in the United States that are 10 years behind, 20 years behind, 30 years behind. Some comedy clubs are still in the 70s, and that's when you can start realizing different places you do not need to perform at.
yeah, I think I talked about like kind of my general lack of success in getting booked at clubs, and I was like, well, but I'm also not that broken up about it because they don't pay very well. The shows aren't always that fun. I mean, the shows I do now also aren't always that fun, but they pay pretty well. But I talk about in Crime League, or not Crime League, in Tries to Be a Person, I was talking about how like I'm trying to be a bigger comic now. I'm trying to appeal to more people, but it is not just like because I want to be more famous. It is if more people know who I am, I can sell more tickets when I do public shows that I'm trying to get people to buy tickets to.
Yep.
Because this is my job and I need it to go well so that I don't have to learn how to be an accountant or whatever.
So your children can't eat, have a roof over their head, and feel like their dad's career is not a lofty dream. I mean, so many times, I know
Right.
with me in filmmaking, and I'm sure less with you in comedy because it is your full-time job, and you marketably do well at it, or financially do well at it. But still, how many people have given you a thing that's just like, oh, what a great hobby?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, this is, I mean, when you put in the amount
I've had
of
people
hours and
on
work,
cruise ships ask me what I do for work.
yeah,
Like after the show, after they've seen, like, not before I've performed and we're just making small talk and they don't know who I am. Like they watch me do the big closing theater show of their vacation and they're like, oh, it's like, what do you do?
this
That
is
is,
it.
yeah, the thing
Well,
you just
people
saw me
have a
do
hard time.
very well at a pretty high level.
It's
That's
again money. People have such a hard time understanding money. Now, the biggest thing we
me
understand
specifically.
is people probably, as again Obama mentions on the WTF, he's like the fact that he mentions like how many people in the world publicly that it's known they have over $1 billion as individuals, not just corporations. He's like
Yeah.
the fact that like that exists is it's pretty ridiculous and pretty redunk. He doesn't
Yeah.
say redunk.
That'd be wild if he did. Redonk.
Is it?
That's
Pretty redunk.
that's pretty
It's,
redonk. I can't do
I
it.
mean, it's pretty redunk.
Yeah, it's almost like we
I'm
should
just
put
like,
all of them in tiny subs and send them to the bottom of the ocean just to see what happens.
well, so the idea of that is there are people, if you told them what we make per show, they would be like, that's not an honest day's amount of work. But again, it's about what you put, like how
Yeah,
much
well, it
worth you
depends
put
on the
to
show.
it.
Sometimes you
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
people what you get paid for a show, and they're like, "Then why did you agree to do it?" And then,
exactly. It's about how much worth you put on it. Personal worth, perspective worth, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
But
I don't
so
normally give specific numbers when I talk about shows, but
because
the thing I was doing last night was like about the business of comedy. So I was more open. Like I told them what I got paid for Dry Bar. Told them roughly how much I get in royalties from them. And then I mentioned I have a 2-week cruise. I'm doing like 2 back-to-back coming up next month. So I told them how much I'm getting paid to do that. And they're like, you're getting paid that much for one show? It's like, oh, no. I'm getting paid that much for 2 weeks of my life being spent in the ocean. Like,
yes.
It's the BB King quote I keep bringing up of like, they pay me to travel. I do the shows for free. You are paying me because I don't want to get on an airplane and fly to the Caribbean. You are paying me because I don't want to spend 2 weeks away from my family.
Did anybody ask in that class, though? They go, okay, you got paid. You're getting paid for this. So that means every show you do that is in a setting like that, you will make that and nothing less. No.
Correct.
You can sometimes
well
get far more, far less.
The cruises are basically, you get like a weekly rate.
Yeah.
You know, you're not paid per show. You're paid per week that you're on the ship. The lines, I'm sure, vary how much that is, but I've been working with the one cruise line this year, more or less. So I'm doing 2 back-to-back. So I'm getting, 2 weeks at that rate, which is a good amount of money. But other times, like I'll do a private event and like I'll do a wedding, and I'm not going to tell wedding guests.
You'll do like a Saudi. You'll do like a Saudi wedding.
I'll do like I'll go to like Saudi Arabia and do like a billionaires little comedy festival to try to put like a happy face on atrocities.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell your wedding guests what you're paying me to do your wedding. I know what you're paying me to do your wedding. You know what you're paying me to do your wedding. But I also know what you're paying the photographer and the caterer. Like the last wedding that I did, hired a tattoo artist to do like flash tattoos on people. And I was like, yeah, they're probably getting a pretty good tattoo rate at the moment.
What a terrible situation to get an impromptu tattoo.
They were trying to get me to do it. It's like I have one little dot that was a drawing accident where like I jabbed a pen, a metal inking quill, like got jabbed into my arm. I don't know if it'll even show up on camera. I got a little dot.
Yes,
and I was like, I don't really want one.
Yeah.
But it was also like you picked one of like these 12s. That was like the deal. Like,
ew, and then you just get branded, and that's how you remember Tony and Tina's wedding.
Right. If they're like, we'll put Mr. T on you. Okay, maybe I'll consider that. But yeah, it's like when
you get your tattoo of Mr. T, they're like, we'll put Mr. T on you, and you're like, great. And like we both agree, you and the tattoo artist, you're just like, we both agree what Mr. T looks like. And you're like, yes. And they're like, yes. And then you get it and you look in the mirror and it's like a little like caricature cartoon, like tea bag. And it's like, look, there's Mr. T. And you're like, that is not Mr. T. Like, well, yeah, he is. I mean, he's a mister.
I think, so the other thing I was talking about is the way I used to look at how much do I charge for a show was, would I travel to that location to pick that amount of money up off the ground? But I can't do that anymore. Like, I think that's a good measurement for when you're starting out, right? Because you probably are younger than 42. If you're just starting comedy, you're probably less attached, where it's not like you don't need the money from comedy to be what is, paying off your car or whatever. When it's great, when it's a fun little hobby, and then when you do get paid for it, it feels so great, and then you get paid a little more, and ooh, that's fun. But then when you decide to make it your full-time job, it's like, no, I actually need to up the price here. It's the thing I was talking about, how like I have to charge more now because a better gig might ask me for that date later, and I don't like backing out of gigs. It feels gross to do it for more money, but if it is like a multiple of what you are offering, sorry, like I can't turn down a cruise for a $50 bar gig. Like, yeah, I know I told you 3 months ago that I would do it, but I can't.
If anybody thinks that there's anything I'm saying is hypocritical to the Riyadh Comedy Festival, neither of us were offered the money. Neither of us were offered that gig. So we cannot sit here and say maybe you can say absolutely.
I could confidently tell them I would have told them to gargle my balls. Almost word for word.
$10 million.
Yeah.
Would you have said?
You want to go
Pardon my
perform for a
balls.
Saudi billionaire who loves murdering journalists? Actually, I don't. Sorry, you can huff my balls.
I'm not saying I would, but
Um,
I'm saying that I know that I was not offered that, so I cannot, like, me personally, wrestle with that decision until that decision comes. But I will say
Oh, I'm
that
sure
when
there's
you,
stuff I would agree to that would piss people off. Like, no
yeah,
question.
so, but
That's
when
just,
you're
I know
young,
in my heart is not one of them.
when we're talking about this idea of, or your mentality of what you think of doing this art is, whether you lean more into the business of it or whether you lean more into the art of it, when you're younger and starting off, you can do more things like, and you should, like Arena Calm, where she got paid off her car, took her car and slept in it and went all around the United States, made
Yeah.
a name for herself, did as many shows as she could, and then she then went to the next level from there.
AJ
So before
Wilkerson
that,
did a similar thing.
AJ
He's like,
Wilkerson,
I'm going to
Jake,
buy a van. I'm going to live in the van. I'm going to do so many shows. And now he's got a following and a big social media presence. And great. I don't want to live in a van. You
yeah,
know,
and
like that's,
and then you were also not, in his station in life, and not every answer is the same. But I think one of the faults of performers at whatever stage that you're at is not recognizing that there are two percentages to it, especially if you're looking to elevate how you're doing it. So, or grow as it. So if you're starting off and you're like, well, I'm just doing the art of stand-up, it's just art. Great. Don't do any shows that ever sell free tickets or are marketing off your back to sell drinks or anywhere. Or recognize and go, okay, it might be I'm trying to do 90% art right now, but there's still 10% business. That if you're looking to grow and have a track where you are not in the same place 5 years from where you start,
sure.
then that percentage, it's going to start fluctuating.
I'm
In my
sure there's comics who will look down at the idea of me performing for a company and basically just doing the material that was on my dry bar set and almost nothing else, because they're like, you got to be super clean, don't be political, don't make fun of anybody. And I'm like, I'm happy to take that money. I'm happy to just do jokes that are, when I do corporate gigs and cruises, I'm doing jokes that are like literally from my first year of stand-up. I don't care. Like, they work. The people that I'm performing for don't know them. Maybe a thing that is happening more and more is like a couple people at the show do know who I am. It happened on a cruise, 2 cruises recently, where people were like, I was surprised when I saw that you were the comic, because like I know you're usually dry bar, or like they just say I know you from online. A wedding gig, it happened where they're like, how'd they get you to come? And I was like, they paid the amount of money that I asked them to pay me. And they're like, right, but like, I've seen you online and stuff. I was like, yeah, a lot of comics post material online. I don't know.
They paid me enough money that I went, I guess
They're
I'm doing
just
this
like,
wedding.
I guess I gotta go to Ohio again. They're just like surprised because I'm a person that they know from the internet, that I am there with them. I mean, I did the same thing when I went to Budapest, and Daniel Said was the opener, and I was like, Doug, I've been following you for like 2 years. He's like, why? And I'm like, oh, because when I started trying to learn Hungarian, I just followed a bunch of Hungarian stand-ups. So I've seen like all of your clips. I genuinely don't understand most of them, if I'm being honest, because I'm not good at Hungarian. But it was the same thing. He's like, why would a comedian in America have any idea who I am? It's like, oh, because I specifically sought out the exact thing.
Because like a creep, I could find you.
Yeah.
That's how the world.
Also, I just quick apology. I'm trying to like lean back when I do this, but I'm eating on mic, which I know people don't like, but I had to take medication and I can't take it on an empty stomach or I'll die. So,
and I'm going to make it even harder.
Who's the bad guy now?
Because we're going to use this last 25 minutes before I got to skedoot and keep working like a madman. Let's go over. We can finally say, I think we mentioned it last time, but now it is advertised.
Yeah. Oh, it's in the newspaper, baby. We're big time.
It's in that local newspaper. Hopefully they just use fat pictures of me. Which is nothing wrong with that. I like getting a little bit of a sympathy. Sometimes people are scared. They think I'm dying of cancer, and I have to be like, no, I'm healthy. Everything's good, except for I'm 40 now, so I'm a little less healthy.
So you're not. You're on the way out.
Yeah, mentally, physically, it's getting worse. It's not going to get any better.
But we are performing in Norfolk, Nebraska, hometown of Johnny Carson, for what would have been his 100th birthday. I don't know if you guys know this. He died a long time ago. But Norfolk celebrates his birthday every year, and it's his 100th. So they're going big. They're going big, bringing Daddios
don't
to
be
Norfolk.
sarcastic about this. I am genuinely honored. Look, I know they don't know me, and I know they knew you because they've seen you, and so they feel pretty good. And you vouched for me to have me on it.
Yes.
But to mention genuinely, I am honored. I am treating it with like the utmost respect, like thinking about it in
I
terms
mean,
of like, okay,
I am as
okay.
well. I'm just saying the big time celebration being us feels crazy.
I feel like I feel more honored than I'm sure
there's more
anybody
than
else
just
will.
us. There's a few
magician.
events that weekend. But we are performing I'm blanking on the date. I'm gonna pull up October 25th.
October 20th. Yeah.
The big 2-5.
So we're gonna head out. You are coming down.
That's what we need to figure out. I don't know why we need to figure this out on Mike, but hey, what else are we going to talk about? We might as well talk travel. So
I think this gives a nice little glimpse into
the boring nonsense we have to do as comedians. So we're driving it.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Because
you're gonna pick me up.
Flights is expensive, and I don't like taking them unless I absolutely have to. But since we're both going, it would be a break-even deal, basically, if we're buying plane tickets.
I don't mind driving.
I just don't want to.
I like a road trip. I also like driving somewhere that I've not driven to before, and I know you've done the Nebraska drive.
I've just been flying so much lately, and I hate it so much that it's like I'd rather just. And it's a lot from my house to Norfolk. I'm looking at the map, including a stop where you are, 21 hours, 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I've done this drive a couple of times.
Yes.
I think it was 2022 was the year that I performed in Nebraska more than in New Jersey. I've been to Norfolk a couple of times specifically. That is, I leave first thing in the morning, drive until I cannot stay awake anymore. That is usually shortly past Chicago. So I end up getting like a cheap hotel in Joliet or whatever, sleep for, a couple hours, get up first thing in the morning, leave. I'm there by dinner time. When I went there with my daughter. I was performing at the Wayne Chicken Show in Wayne, Nebraska. It was a great time, and it was over the summer, so my kids were home from school, and I was like, well, rather than like leave for a week and leave my wife with both kids, like, you don't have anything going on. You're 9. You want to come with Daddy? So she did, and that was a longer trip because I can't do that with a 9-year-old in the car. So when we left, I was like, you are going to make it to Ohio today. And because she asked, she's like, how far are we going to go? And I was like, well, for sure, you're getting to Ohio, because if we get to Ohio and I realize that, oh, this is actually, you can't hang this well in this such a long car ride, that gives me time to turn around, drop you off, and still make it in time. But that first night we made it to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Then we stopped for 2 nights into Chicago. We did all the museums. We were staying with a friend of mine. That was like just part of the vacation of it for her. And then we went from Chicago to somewhere in Iowa and then to Norfolk.
You made a little trip out of it, and that's fun. Those are memories.
Like extra stops because I had my daughter with me. So
what are we doing?
And then she's like, so is this what you do when you leave? You like stop at all these museums and stuff? I was like, no, this was for your benefit.
Yeah.
If I'm somewhere for a weekend, if I have a Saturday to kill between the Friday and Saturday shows, I might hit a museum. I might go to a zoo,
which is like the modern museum.
Mall. This is probably the most New Jersey thing I do is if I'm on the road, I will it feels like going to an embassy of like, oh, it's good to be home. I will just walk around a mall because part of it is like, I know I can walk around a mall. I'm not just roaming an unfamiliar neighborhood. Or if I'm just driving and I need to get out and walk for a bit, if I happen to be passing a mall, or now I've done, Route 80 enough times, like I know when the mall is coming up, I can, stop, do a couple laps, stretch my legs, get back in. It's great because like if you just I feel weird as a lone 42-year-old large man to just like pull up in some suburb and start walking around. I feel like it's going to be suspicious.
I would say your love of malls is my same love, and this is where you would maybe not feel as comfortable. But again, middle-aged white man here, I'm not a small guy. I love main streets of small towns. Like I
Love a
will
main street.
love a main street. They have a couple antique shops, couple of things that are out of place, little coffee, usually mom and pop kind of diner or coffee house.
Yeah.
I love stopping in one of those and just strolling through.
Yeah.
But I usually feel pretty comfortable, regardless of the
I
culture.
mentioned like walking around Colombia, and then somebody on the ship was like, "Weren't you scared?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't think I look imposing necessarily, but I do look like more trouble than I'm worth to try to kidnap or whatever."
Oh yeah. Or you also look like no one would pay your ransom. That might
yeah. Or like when I went to Hungary and my mom was worried about me traveling alone, and she's like, "What if you get shot?" I was like, they don't have as many guns there. She's like, "Well, what if you get stabbed?" It's like, "Oh, what a relief to only have to worry about getting stabbed."
Then maybe I get some character out of it. Maybe I'm
are
a
you
better
kidding?
person afterwards. Maybe I'm tougher.
Maybe
I'm a badass.
I genuinely don't ever feel safer than when I am not in this country. Anywhere else that I've been, it's an immediate sense of relief to not just have to worry about getting shot all the time. But how I'm basically trying to feel out your stamina on a scale of 9-year-old Amelia to lunatic me. How long do you think it's going to take to drive from your house to our hotel in Norfolk, Nebraska?
Oh, do you know how long it is, or do you want me to look?
I'm looking at it on a map. I mean,
okay.
in your heart.
How many hours from Cincinnati, Ohio, or Newport? It's only 12 hours. Oh, I can. How about this? And we already have a hotel, right?
Yes, because I know what my plan is, and I'm happy to adjust it to make you comfortable. I'm trying to figure out when I need.
Would you like to come drive down to me, whatever time you want to get in on Thursday the 23rd?
Yep.
Spend the night. You and I, after I get the circus gone in the morning, we have a fun night. You get to meet everybody. Allie gets to meet you, which she cannot wait. Anna has heard about you so much, so she's very excited. The boys.
I was going to say who, because if you were talking about an adult, I feel like that would be a funny joke, but I feel like because it's your young daughter, it was a mean joke. Yeah, I am excited to meet your family.
So the morning of the 24th, after we get everybody out the door off to school, I figured we would then hit the road. That would put us hitting the road no later than 8. Even if you didn't want to drive, I could knock out that 12 hours with minimal stops and have us at our hotel by 10 at night on Friday.
I would say.
Oh, that's right. We're going to gain hours though too on the way there. We'll lose hours on the way back because we have mountain time, right? Or central.
So my plan was I will leave first thing Thursday morning, get to your house. My plan was to more like say hi to everybody, hang out for a bit, and then keep going for a bit, because it's roughly 8 hours from me to you, and then 12 from you to Ohio, or not Ohio, to Nebraska. So I feel like if we switch off and maybe you drive, like we can get a few of those hours done that night.
Okay. If you want to head out
just
Thursday.
Stop somewhere. But it might depend on what time I actually get there, because traffic do be unpredictable sometimes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I kind of got to know what time I possibly would be heading out Thursday. I'm down with you coming, getting in, and saying like maybe it's like 5 or 6 o'clock during dinner time. you eat a little something, you hang out for just, an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, and then we're back on the road by say like 7:30 or 8 o'clock to get a couple hours out. I'm
Yeah,
good
I
with
mean,
that.
even if you want to say bedtime for your
I'm a
like,
road dog.
yeah.
Yeah, like I will drive. I don't get sleep. Like as long as I got my glasses and I'm not like pulling like 2 days driving in a row,
Well,
I'm good.
daytime, I'm good. Sun up to sundown, truly can just, with minimal stops, drive. At night, it's a little more exhausting.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I can if you've been driving all day. I would be in the perfect, especially if I already know that that's what we're going to be doing. We could hop in the car and I could drive. The I could drive at least 4 hours if we wanted to knock half of it out of the way and just get. Well, actually, like we probably do 4.5. Get on the other side of Chicago, kind of like what you were saying. Get a
Yeah,
hotel there. Yeah, yeah, that
because
sounds.
that's like I said, that's the typically is I leave first thing the day before I'm planning on getting there. Stop shortly after Chicago. Usually, sometimes I make it a little bit further, and then just try to like keep going.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great plan.
Because I feel like
Sounds fun to me.
with possible traffic or whatever, we might end up getting there hella late on Friday.
You're right. I mean, if we would have been leaving when I said the Friday morning,
Also, I don't want to sleep at your house.
that's fine too. You don't need to sleep in my house. I have a bed for you in the attic. Would have been very comfortable. You'd have had your own room. You'd have had your own shower, but whatever.
No, it's too stressful.
That's again, I get it. But you're right too. Of leaving Friday morning, I know what the traffic is like from my house going up through Cincinnati. It's fucking insane. So we're gonna get rid of all of that the next morning, and especially if we put ourselves or leaving the night before, and if we put ourselves on the other side of Chicago, we'll also be outside of that nonsense.
Yeah.
So the most we'll hit, depending on the direction, is possibly some Wisconsin morning traffic.
Because when we did Columbus, I think I dropped my kids off at school and then just left from school, and got to Columbus at like 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Also, we're not. I don't know. We will not be in Wisconsin. I don't know how you.
We're not driving through Wisconsin. I didn't like said I wasn't sure of the
No,
what you drove. What the drive? That's right. You said Iowa. We got to drive through Iowa.
we got to go through Iowa.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. I'll put it in my phone that you will be coming in the evening of the 23rd, and we'll be heading out after a little pit stop at our house.
Yeah, happy to hang out and meet everybody.
Okay, Glenn.
That'll be a nice fun time.
Me up. Glenn picks me up for Nebraska.
And then
That is the easiest way to put it in my wife and I's joint calendar because she'll be like, "Oh yeah, Glenn's going to pick you up for Nebraska."
yeah,
I have
to do that too because I will put it like I've had Nebraska in the calendar, but not when I was leaving.
Yeah,
because it's like, well, I know how long it takes me to do it.
and then let's see, gosh, and then I won't be back until the 26th.
Yeah, getting back, I'm less.
Yeah,
I don't have,
whatever.
That is a less hard line.
Okay, so yeah, we're good. I got that in there. We should be gravy. I like the plans for all that. Like I said, I am highly, highly looking forward to this. I don't know if there's anyone we could ask or if we could do it ourselves. I would not be disinterested in getting an audio recording of this because I think this might be, could be, and maybe I'm just optimistically thinking of it as kind of a perfect audience for the show that I've been doing more recently.
Yeah, well, when they reached out to me, I assumed I was like the 10th person that they contacted, and I wasn't sure what the specific plan was. So I came back with like, oh, yes, I'm available. I would love to do it. Also, here's some comics that I like working with that would probably also be down to clown. And I mentioned specifically that like the show that you were doing currently is like very talk show inspired.
Mhm. You
So
didn't say
like,
it was good. You're just like, this is what
no,
this is what it
absolutely. I would
pretended to be.
never.
The jokes are. I don't
Oh,
even know if you
it's
call them
ads
jokes.
top to bottom, but it's kind of like a talk show.
He's talking.
He's talking and it's a show, so I guess if you want to also have this guy. But then like, I explained, the two-hander thing up front.
Ooh, are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they aware that we need 2 microphones?
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
I
Sorry,
believe the
again,
homie Pat
I'm
Jansen
not
will be
saying
there.
this.
The District Event
to
Table is another venue in Norfolk, Nebraska. That has that's where when I did the show with Tim Meadows,
Mhm.
it was there. But the other guy that Tim Meadows brought to open for him
Yes.
is doing a show there that weekend. Sal, I'm blanking on your last name, bud.
I know who you are talking about. You're not talking about
Sal Kalani.
Yeah, okay. That's who I thought you were.
Yeah. So he's gonna be there that weekend.
Cool.
And I think Pat told me, but I don't know if Pat meant he is doing that show, so he can't. But you'll get to meet my friend Pat Jansen, which is exciting because I love him. It'll be nice to see Sal as well. He'll probably be hanging out in Norfolk that weekend. We get lunch or something. Sal, we'll reach out. It's a good time. They have there's like a big Carson mural. I think they said they put up a statue since I've been there last. There is the
I wonder
weird
how it looks.
mannequin of him.
Do we think it looks good or do we think it looks like Lucy?
The mannequin, I took a on purpose unflattering photo of it, but it looks startling.
Are you sure it's a mannequin or it's not just a waxed over actual Johnny Carson that
I'm not positive. No.
Yeah.
It's like a big wax figure that's got like an armature that is apparently not working correctly, so it's not on display at the moment. But she's like, you can still see it when you can come out, hang with your old pal, wax Johnny Carson.
Well, also, I mean, I do have to go. I do have to see all of that stuff as well, like his set that they have up there, his little museum.
The Elkhorn Valley Museum is where the show will be.
I love stuff like this.
When I've done the Great American Comedy Festival, they do like the big show is at the high school where Carson went, and he left them a bunch of money to build a theater. So there's the Johnny Carson Theater at I think it's the Norfolk High School. And it is, I think it's like 1,000 seats. Like that's what the Smothers Brothers show that I did. That's where that was.
Oh, cool. Is that where the show is?
No, it is at the Elkhorn Valley Museum. So that's where they have like the stuff from the set and the wax figure and everything.
Oh my gosh, I would love if.
And I think there's like an event room. I don't know if the show is actually in the museum or if there's like a separate spot.
I know I'm jinxing it, but I feel like this is gonna be the best representation of the Ricky and Glenn show.
I'm really excited to be doing it.
And I know a month from now when we're like, hey, so here's some more stories about how that couldn't have been worse.
No, it'll be great. All the shows I've done in Norfolk have been delightful. Yeah, and I'll talk to them from doing the festival, like, and because of my friend Pat working in media out there, like I have some connections, so we might do some pre-show press.
Would love it. I'm feel free to. I'm telling you this now. Submit me for any press.
I'm sure you're down.
I will figure it out. Yeah,
it'll be a good time.
But don't you? I'm saying you don't need to say like, let me check with Ricky first. Like,
I assume you're
I'm a whore.
Yeah. It's I somebody asked something about podcasts. Like, yeah, it's fun to. Oh, last night, Aaron Bader, a comic. We should probably have Aaron on at some point. She was like the teacher's assistant the one time that I did the class because she had taken it with me.
Oh, she
We've
could.
done
Yeah,
some
that's
shows
great.
together.
She could tell like what it's like to have you instead of just from the perspective of you. Hear somebody else say the kind of monster you are.
Well, because now she's taking the 201 with Aaliyah, who I bring up a lot.
Who
And
also needs to be
Aaliyah's
on the
a much better teacher than me, because she like takes people's feelings into account and stuff. And
because she doesn't have autism.
I think she might, but a different kind apparently,
Okay.
because seems concerned with how people feel when she's giving them feedback on stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, what if you just did that, but what if you did it better and it was funnier? I don't know. We'll have Aaliyah on too at some point, but Aaron was asking about like doing podcasts and like, is it a good way to like get people to come out to your event? And I was like, it's honestly mostly just a fun thing to do.
It's another exercise in talking and formulating thoughts that you could possibly. I mean, it's the same as bullshitting in the green room. That's why that show, The Green Room,
but
was
it
so
is
much
also
fun.
like, media practice. If
Yeah.
you just do a bunch of podcasts with your friends that nobody listens to, and then you get the chance to go on the radio, it's like, yeah, you've talked enough times into a microphone that it doesn't feel uncomfortable and weird.
If you go and do Bob and Tom, you go there, they give you zero setup, and they try to make you eat shit while they make dumb jokes with each other.
Yeah. A lot of the
That
morning radio stuff is the like, just you walk in and you're like, all right, you're on in 10, and then they give you the countdown. You don't know what's happening. It's all very fast and weird, and it's 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, I don't even think I told you the story of the Bob and Tom. The only reason I got to talk is because Tom Griswold, in between commercial breaks, on my drive up there, he had mentioned, oh my gosh, Paul Lynn, Hollywood Squares, Paul Lynn,
Yeah.
Bewitched, Paul Lynn.
Great Halloween
And
special.
oh, so good.
If you want something weird to watch for Halloween, check out the Paul
Charo
Lynn Halloween Spectacular.
are our guests. I think it's
insane.
very up there. But Paul Lynn is also fantastic. Very enjoyable. If you can watch a greatest hits of his Hollywood Square quips, his one lines. But I had heard them mention Paul Lynn while I was driving into Indiana to do the show, to just hear about what they're talking about. And in between breaks, when they had not thrown anything to me, and I wasn't going to be rude enough my first time appearance on the show to just jump in and start making comments, because I think I maybe did it slightly once, and like Josh looked at me like I had 3 fucking heads. Like, how dare you? Like, do not talk until you're addressed. And I was just like, oh, I'm sitting here with cans and a microphone. I thought, you already mentioned that I'm in the room. My bad. So in between breaks, I brought up about Paul Lynn and having a Paul Lynn impression, and just kind of like started doing it. And Tom was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I don't know about does a Paul Lynn impression. I'm like, yeah, you don't know many 35-year-old white boys that know Paul Lynn. And so when we came back on, he pimped me into doing it. And so then I was just like, great, now I'm just going to connect it to this bit and keep going. If it wouldn't have been for that, I would have sat there like an asshole. And here's the other part. I had my ukulele with me and hadn't tuned it, hadn't planned on playing it. But then after that,
then why'd you bring it? You wanted to play it, you dirty little ukulele.
Well, if I didn't know,
ukulele boy.
if I'd have been prepared, because I know they had musical acts. But again, I didn't tune it. They said, no, don't worry about it. And then Tom was like, when we come back, comedian Ricky Glore, who also plays ukulele, I think his ukulele is in the green room. Like, we're going to hear him play a song. And I'm like, I get okay. And then so like they're running to the other room and it's out of tune. And they're like, all right, you're on in 3, 2. I'm like, this is going to sound awful.
My primary point of reference for Bob and Tom, because they weren't a big, I don't know if they even played
in the woods
out here when I was a kid, but when I started getting into comedy and like Napster was around, I would just look up comedy clips on like the way people were bootlegging Weezer albums or whatever. I was like trying to find any stand-up I could find on Napster. Haywood Banks's Yeah Toast was one of the things that I found, and it's still one of the funniest things. It is just a song about toast that he plays by hitting a toaster he's wearing around his neck with a spoon, screaming about how much he loves toast. It kicks ass. But it's the clip from the show when he mentions the show in the song, And it's like, I don't know what Bob and Tom is, but this guy seems to love it almost as much as he loves toast. And then I found out it's like this huge thing elsewhere in the country. Yeah, I don't know. Never done it.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever will again. We're going to see about, I can, and you know what? Here's an exclusive because it hasn't been mentioned anywhere else. Sweetmeats will be streaming on Troma Now on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Starting
yeah.
I put together a fun little, you know, the movie Home for the Holidays, Jodie
Nope.
Foster movie with Holly Hunter, Robert
Oh,
Downey
yes.
Jr., Charles During, the guy from Dylan McDermott. I put together a little mock version of that with like a Rockwellian Sweetmeats image with Lloyd standing at the bottom. So you'll see all the information on our socials here soon. But yeah, you've heard it here first. If you listen to Daddio, starting
Heck
Thanksgiving,
yeah.
you can watch Sweetmeats with your family and get grossed out because it's about cannibalism.
Do it. Do it, you dirty birds. All right. I know you said you got to be out at 10:30. It is now 10:30.
Yeah,
You got anything
I
quick
gotta
you want to
go.
say on the way out?
No, I think that was it. Yeah,
Watch
again,
Sweetmeats on Thanksgiving.
yeah.
I'll be on a
What do you
boat
have?
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm hyped about Nebraska, going back to Norfolk, getting to see Pat, getting to see all the other people I know out there. It'll be a good, fun show. I'm looking forward to another road trip because, like I said, I've been flying so much doing the cruise gigs, and I truly hate it. One thing I did find out, this is a fairly recent thing at a lot of airports, but there's a thing you can get it's called a sunflower lanyard, and it is just like a way to show the crew that you have a potentially invisible disability such as autism or ankylosing spondylitis, and it's just like, I don't know what the added support options are, but like, I can get one at Newark Airport, and then apparently flight attendants will be more helpful and nice.
I like that, and not to be like cynical, but you know, the blue pumpkins for trick or
Yeah,
treating.
yeah.
You're supposed to give
They're
people just a
teal,
heads
at
up.
least.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would make that same distinction. Like my daughter and I, like she's like, it's green. I'm like, well, that's seafoam green. Like that's a
Yeah.
very but I somebody posted, it's just like, I'm tired of blue pumpkins. Why can't people giving out candy just not be assholes to people who are coming up to get candy, regardless of what their pumpkins are? And I'm like, I get the sentiment, but it's also great to have representation.
It's also great to not have to have that conversation with every house that you go to if you're the kid with the peanut allergy. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yes.
you just have a different color pumpkin, then you don't have to say, hey, I have a peanut allergy. Do you have anything without peanuts, or I can't have this? Like, I
It's
love
the
it.
same as Anna. Anna doesn't have has a peanut allergy, but she doesn't have anything specific when she goes up there. But she also, Anna, does not like chocolate.
Yeah.
So she's the cutest, most respectful no thank you when she goes up to a house that just has chocolate. Like she's not upset, but I have seen the people be like, oh no, like all we have is chocolate. And she's like, that's okay. Happy Halloween. And like goes to the next house and like, well, wait, we might have some pennies in this.
Do you want some pennies? We have
Yeah.
some pennies.
Pennies. You want jagged metal?
I got my Steve Zissou costume for Halloween.
Oh, did you not see me? Did you not see me share that on my Instagram stories last night?
No.
Oh, well, there you go. You're
I
welcome.
didn't,
If it's not expired yet,
I got the shirt in the mail yesterday, so that's exciting.
I gave you a little sexy AF little neon sign on my
Hell yeah.
stories.
My
right
kids
movies.
are, I believe, both being K-pop demon hunters, and they wanted me to be their manager, and I was like, I will not be doing that. Also, it's like, one, it's phoning it in. It's the dude just wears a blazer and a t-shirt, and like, that's how Daddy dresses most days. But I'm also not going to try to make myself look more Korean. That's
anime.
Like
wait, you're not going to make yourself look more Korean?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to be, as far as I know, non-Korean.
Oh no, zero.
But I was like, I'm just going to dress up as a different movie. I asked my wife to make me. She crochets all the time, so I asked her to make me a Team Zissou cap like months ago, and she goes, "Oh, those are knit, not crocheted." I was like, "I just need a red hat. Like, I don't care. It doesn't have to be screen accurate." And I ended up just ordering one, but I wanted it because I've been going on cruise ships. It's like, it would be funny to wear like a light blue shirt and a little red knit hat while I'm walking around a cruise ship.
It's even funnier if when people approach you being like, yeah, I know. And you're like, know what? You're like just out there cosplaying. You're just like, I have no idea. This
What
is
do you
not a
mean?
reference to anything. This is how I dress.
I just love wearing winter hats in the ocean. All right, you have to go do something.
I do. I'm never ending work with the movie.
Never ending. Stay loose, bud.
Hey, love you, sir. Bye.
Love you, buddy.
I want to make sure that it records, though. I don't want to public streaming stuff.